Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming. This meeting is very important for us. Really. It's not just nice to say. It is important for us that people like you will be involved. And we see that more and more decision makers and lawmakers would like to do something in order to put an end to the conflict. And of course, it is more than obvious that these some things are mainly words and resolutions, because this is our profession. I mean, this is what we do. But we also know that it is not enough. And when you ask what can be done, I believe that we have some modest answers. As to the question of whether the Palestinian state is still a solution, which was raised here, it's a very relevant question. For many years, the Palestinians themselves rejected totally the idea of a two-state solution until November 88. It's yesterday. For the Palestinian leadership to accept the idea of a two-state solution was a huge compromise. Because historically, they could not accept it, that the Jews has any right to have the Holy Land, even part of it, under their sovereignty. This is why, as it was mentioned before, until today, there is a huge wound of the Balfour Declaration of 17. Many Israelis don't understand how deep it is. They believe that the Palestinian state is something that the Palestinians want very much, and that they should be against it. But this is not the case. I mean, for many Palestinians, a two-state solution is a kind of a punishment, because it is recognition that Jews have the right to live on a place which they believe is theirs. So, in 88 there was a change. In 93, I initiated the Oslo process mainly because I believe that the delegation, the joint delegation of Jordan and the Palestinians in Madrid, which was negotiating in Washington with the Israeli delegation, was very artificial, and that we should talk to the PLO, not to the people who were very good people and important people. But we should talk directly to the PLO. This is why I had to keep it for my superiors for about half a year until they knew what I was doing there. But eventually they accepted it. I mean, I'm speaking about Rabin and Peres. And without them, it couldn't happen. And one of them paid with his life for that, regretfully. But the important thing about Oslo was not that it had a very good idea. Oslo actually followed the footsteps of the American Soviet invitation to Madrid, namely 5-year interim solution, and after 5 years there will be a permanent solution. And in the meantime, there will be a Palestinian police and a Palestinian authority or something like that. The importance of Oslo was that it was between the national movement of the Palestinian people, the PLO, and the Zionist movement, which they hated, and for them it was like Nazism or whatever, just to say Zionism. So this was the big revolution. And many people on both sides hated this solution and fought as much as they could in order to torpedo it. And eventually, regretfully, they at least succeeded in deferring it for a long while. Then, 1 month after we signed the Oslo Agreement, I went to Arafat to Tunisia, and I offered him to negotiate a permanent agreement very quickly before the extremists on both sides will kill Oslo. And that was only after 2 years we finished the work. He nominated Abu Mazen, the current Palestinian president, to negotiate with me. We had the Beilin-Abu Mazen agreement about the permanent agreement. But then Rabin was assassinated, and it just became part of the story. I mean, if you open the books, you will find it, but not much more than that. It was the basis for the Clinton parameters of 2000. And the Clinton parameters was the basis for former negotiators on both sides, Israelis and Palestinians, to go for the Geneva Initiative and finish it in 2003. The Geneva Initiative of 2003 is the most detailed book about a possible permanent agreement between Israelis and Palestinians, with 500 very boring pages of annexes. We covered everything. So if somebody wants peace, gets up in the morning, gets crazy and wants peace, there is a book. But that was in 2003. And we got since then remarks, criticism, notes from many people. The bottom line was, one, you are dealing with 67, namely the 6-Day War. You are not dealing with 48. In 48, Israel was created, and the Palestinians, many of them, were banished and expelled. And this is the trauma, and you don't deal with it. And the point was that if you go to the West Bank, as it was said before, and you see how many settlements you have and how many settlers you have. When we signed the Oslo Agreement, there were 90,000 too many settlers in the West Bank. Today, it is more than 500,000. So people say to me, in Israel, I mean, I'm speaking about our camp. My talks with the settlers are, I would say, very limited. But they don't talk to me. They don't talk to me. They say, Yossi, I was for Oslo, I was for Geneva, I support the two-state solution. I believe that the Zionist dream should be implemented side by side with the Palestinian dream for national rights. But you know that it is impossible anymore. Actually, they are quoting the settlers who say, from day one, we built settlements in order to prevent a two-state solution. Today, we succeeded. It's over. Forget about it. And then they have their own solution. When I ask them, what do you think? You want really that a minority of Jews will dominate the majority of Palestinians? They have different answers. I'm not sure that I'm the best person to deliver them. But I thought to myself, it is crazy. Because of these people who decided to put settlements in the West Bank, and they are those who are actually telling the world that it is over, the world should say, yes, you are right, with all due respect, the two-state solution is over, and we should submit to them, to their crazy dreams? It's impossible. It's impossible. And this is mainly why we decided to take the Geneva Initiative. We did not rewrite it, although it took place 22 years ago. It's a long while. Things changed and happened in these years. This will not be the permanent agreement, the official one. But we didn't want to touch it because it was signed by tens of people who gave their names. It was for the first time that something like this was done. Even my agreement with Abu Mazen was not signed by us. He was not too eager to do that. And so the idea was to try to solve the main issues which were referred to by our friends mainly. I'm not speaking about our foes on both sides. The Palestinians who say it is a holy land, we got it. And on the Israeli side, it's the same. People who say that it is a holy land, we got it from apparently the same God, sometimes not the same. I don't know exactly, but something which has to do with heaven. So, and we said, okay, we understand. To evacuate 500,000 people is very difficult. I'm not saying that it is impossible. Israel is still a democracy. If there is a peaceful government, it can decide to do that. But it will be very, very difficult. And because of that, there is no potential prime minister in Israel who would say, I will take it upon myself. Maybe if he is there, he will do that. And then we said, okay, let us say that the solution will be the following. Our territorial idea is that Israel will annex 2.25%, which is about 100 odd square kilometers, to Israel, on the border, on the old border, the green line, which nobody knows where it is and whatever, but the green line, we still know. Well, most of the settlers live. It's adjacent to the old border. So about 300,000 of them will see that as a result of the future permanent agreement, they live in Israel. After so many years in which they lived out of Israel. And the Palestinian state will get the same quality and quantity of land as a land swap. It will not be in the Judea desert or somewhere where it is more difficult to live and to grow agriculture, but and we have all the exact maps, and we have the map of the division of Jerusalem up to the level of houses. Now, on the other side of the new border, you will find about 180,000 to 200,000 Israeli settlers. Now, we will tell them, dear kids, next Thursday, we will leave you. If you want to stay under the Palestinian flag and obey the Palestinian laws, be their guest. And you will be an Israeli citizen, you will remain an Israeli citizen, but you will become also a Palestinian permanent resident. We will count the number of settlers who would like to remain, and the same number would be the quota for Palestinian citizens who would like to live in Israel to move to Israel as Palestinian citizens and Israeli permanent residents. Now, this is not a solution for the refugees. This is for the refugees, we have another solution. It is on top of it. Now, this is the main idea which we believe by solving it, we are removing the current major obstacle to peace for those who want to make peace. You know, I'm telling you in brackets. From my humble experience, the most important thing in order to succeed in negotiations, they always say, what is the key to success in negotiations? Is that both sides want to succeed. And in many cases, unlike when you buy a car or a house or whatever, this is not the case then. In many cases, one of the sides don't want to succeed, or its success is the failure of the negotiations. And people don't understand it. What happened to us in Oslo, and in some of the other negotiations later on, is that both sides wanted it very much. If Hiba and myself want so much peace, not because we are nice people, Hiba may be, but I'm not. But we are very selfish. She wants to fulfill the self-determination of her people. And I want Israel to be Jewish, but democratic, and fulfill my dream not by killing the other side. So we will succeed. It wasn't so difficult for us to negotiate. I can tell you the secret. We did not argue like hell. From time to time. Hardly. Because we wanted very much to succeed. And the same happened in Oslo. They cried sometimes during the year of negotiations, really, with tears. It was not just easy. But retroactively, they negotiated between January the 20th, 93, and August 18, 93. It's nothing. Nothing. And since then, 30 years. I mean, just if you think about it, like this, and they had an agreement. The only agreement that we really have. So, we believe that by doing it, we solve a big deal, and then we said to ourselves, let us try to go for the joint narrative. Now, it was never, ever done before. The closest effort which was done is it is a book called Side by Side, published about 12 years ago, and you have there a page whereby you read the Israeli view, and then on the other page, the Palestinian view on the same issue. But when you read the book, you see that the gaps are so big that it seems more difficult for you to believe that it is going to be an agreement than before you read it. Now, we did something which was very, very different. It was especially Saliba Sarsar, Dr. Saliba Sarsar, who is like Hiba, originally East Jerusalemite, but he lives in the United States. He's a professor in the United States. And we took it as professors. I mean, we took the dates and told the story of what happened. I hope that you all got the link to our paper, and so you can easily read it. You have all the events, and we added regretfully also now the crazy massacre of October 7th, and what happened later on. But we can even that it was not such a big deal to tell. I mean, it is very, very clear. On the one side, there was a crazy attack which had never happened before in our conflict for 100 years. On the other side, Israel felt that it could do anything because of what happened to it, and the world should understand it and accept it, and didn't understand that the expectations of the world from Hamas, with all due respect to these people, was a little bit different than the expectations from Israel. But this is the objective story. This is the objective story. It is not so difficult. So now we have a paper which includes the institutions of cooperation between the parties and other very important things, but also the solution for the settlers. And here there is a problem, and I'm saying it behind closed doors. If we are saying, no problem, we will draw a border, and if you want to remain, you can remain. In a way, we are inviting settlers to live there. They will say, even Hiba and Yossi said that it is okay because they believe that there will be a border. We will do whatever we can in order to prevent it to be a border. And the same about E1. E1 for years and years. I mean, I used to take groups to see E1 and to tell them, if there is E1, there is no Palestinian state. But it is not totally true. Because if E1 is part of the Palestinian state, so there will be a Palestinian state with E1 under the Palestinian state. So there is a problem, a delicate problem here. If you are suggesting something like what we are suggesting, it might be abused by those who want to torpedo it. But I believe that it was important for us to do it in order to tell the people who want peace that saying that the idea of the two states is over is stupid. It's stupid. And actually, if we say so, on my side, we can go home. The Zionist idea of the end of the 19th century is over. It's over. I mean, Israel will be, in the best case scenario, an open country like the United States. People will have rights, and we are going to move to the dialogue of rights between Jews and Palestinians. I mean, this was not the idea. The idea was that Israel would be a shelter for Jews after the persecutions, and especially after the Holocaust. And I think that it is the right thing to do. And the only way for us to be a Jewish and democratic is to have peace with the Palestinians and to have borders with the Palestinians. And if we can have borders with the Palestinians and an umbrella of cooperation, it could be the best thing.